Speech is about the interesting controversy of the designated hitter in Major League Baseball. Ever since I've been a fan of baseball, which has been my whole life, I've always found the NL, AL not having the same rules regarding the designated hitter very interesting and also controversial, as you'll end up seeing. Just to give you a little background information on the topic, 22 out of the past 27 World Series winners have had home field advantage in the World Series, and that includes the use or not use of the DH, depending on the home team's rules. So if we're in the National League Park and they have home field advantage, there would be no DH. And the same way for the American League, there would be the DH for them. The National League DHs have collectively hit 250 in the World Series for the past 35 years, while the American League DHs have hit 232. So there's really no advantage or disadvantage for the National League having to play the American League's rules. On the other hand, the National League pitchers have hit collectively 120 over that same time span, while the American League pitchers have hit .70. And that reveals a 50-point difference in batting average over 35 years, so that's a huge disadvantage for the American League playing the National League's rules. As I noted before, I've been a lifelong baseball fan. I've been to 16 of the 30 Major League Baseball stadiums that are currently in use, along with the old Yankees, Mets, and Phillies stadiums, and also the old Metrodome. I've been to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown twice, most recently in 2011. And there's also a picture of me on the Jumbotron at Fenway Park, so it's kind of interesting too. The DH is a sign that baseball is changing and we need to embrace that change. Through the changing culture of baseball, the growing need of uniformity among rules, and the effects of the DH, advantage, disadvantage, hopefully you will see why we need a DH in both leagues. One of the critics of having a designated hitter are people that are National League fans, and most notably older people. They say that traditions don't take care of themselves, that we need to take care of them, and even though that times are changing, the rules still need to stay the same because that's the way they were written 160 years ago. And there's also an argument that says if you alter a tradition too much, you can undermine its value. And as we all know, Major League Baseball is a billion-dollar business, so you don't want to adversely affect its value. There are also people that think the National League is unique in its own way, and they don't need to conform to the American League standards. So that's another argument that they have noted against the DH. I think the DH is just a result of the changing culture of baseball and its fans. Like I know before, no DH with having pitchers hitting and stuff, the game's a little more duller, pitchers hitting all the time, and not having pitchers from the American League don't hit all the time, so that's also a little disadvantage for them. MLB is still America's second most popular sport behind the NFL, but its popularity is waning. Business Insider noted that if they don't adapt to the changing culture of the 21st century, that will all change very quickly. Baseball is also holding on to the failing concept that the game is perfect already. There's also multiple flaws. I know the steroids have recently been in the news, so that's a big problem with the game. And I also think this DH is a big problem too. There was a time when the AL and the NL were both separate, different leagues, but now that time has changed and they need to be looked at as one individual whole. Critics also say that uniformity is not needed among the rules and that the difference between the AL and the NL rules are okay. I don't believe that they are separate, but that's what they have to say. Why should the NL have to conform to the AL's radical views? That's another argument that people that are opposed to the DH have to say. Having a pitcher hit in the National League is what makes the National League so unique and appealing to a bunch of people, so they don't want to undermine that value either. And they also have to say that the American League was the one that implemented the DH and therefore ended the uniformity among the rules, so that's their problem that they started and they need to fix it. I believe uniformity is needed, as I noted before. There was a time where they were two separate leagues, but now this is no longer the case. And the MLB is evident that they feel that way because there's only one commissioner of baseball for both leagues. We must recognize that they are one entity by making uniform rules in both leagues. So far this season, Major League pitchers have a batting average of 116 and strike out 42% of the time, while non-pitchers strike out 20% of the time. I don't find it very appealing to watch a batter go up there and knowing half the time he's going to strike out. That's just my thoughts. I find the game to be a little dull in that respect, but and the uniformity among the rules will also end that disadvantage that I noted that is caused by the designated hitter rule. The critics also say that the advantage and disadvantage, if it is there, so be it. We've had it for 40 years, it can't be that bad. That's just how it is. They also say altering the game to make it better and more appealing doesn't make it the original game at all. And they also say that the circumstances created by the DH hinder the game and the quality of baseball. This is a little interesting quote from a Minnesota Twins player who actually plays in the American League. He says, "I root for the Twins, but the game that's played in the American League is a bastardization of baseball, not the real thing. There's nothing that will convince me that an NL team is better than an AL team while the DH rule is intact." So that's a little interesting note to think of someone from the American League who's actually opposed to the DH. I do agree that I think there is a disadvantage with the rule. Like I said, the designated hitters collect battery 120 points higher than pitchers. I noted that before. The home field advantage. And those advantages and disadvantages are really evident on the World Series, which is the game's biggest stage. So that's a big problem too. I also believe that having a game that is unfair in nature isn't really a game at all. Professional sports need to be played on level playing fields. The importance of baseball and the sustainability of it trump the importance of tradition, and times have changed. The American League and National League must be viewed as one entity, and uniformity is needed to improve the game. This is a little poll just to show how undivided America is about the DH. 38% of the people think both leagues should have it, where 35% of the leagues think no league should have it. So it's interesting. If you're in favor of a higher quality game of baseball that couples tradition with current times as in played on a level playing field, I ask that you support the implementation of the designated hitter in both leagues.